Are you someone who's worried about retirement investing? Does retirement investing and the amount of options that is available in the market confuse you? Join us this Saturday, December 9th at 10 a.m. where we talk a lot about building your own nest egg. Take the first step now to building your own nest egg.
Creating your own path to wealth. Everybody wants a path to wealth, but most people try to follow somebody else on their path, which they have already traveled in, hoping to find success. But the times in which different people seek wealth is varying. The paths also are different. The personalities of the people seeking wealth is very different. So their investment approaches will not be the same. All this boils down to one simple thing. Each person should create his own path to wealth, keeping in mind his own risk profile, his investment preferences, his own style, his value systems, his investment beliefs, and his life goals. So I don't think that somebody else's path to wealth will suit me. Similarly, my path to wealth may not suit a lot of others, but still everybody needs a path to wealth, and they need to travel on that path in a very rehearsed and a correct way. Today we are going to talk about how somebody should know his path, should be sure that he is on the right path, and should stick to that path. Subra, over to you. Your opening comments.
When you start off investing, maybe you're 24, 25, you're speculating or you're trading or you're building your portfolio or you're creating this for your family. Your father is willing to invest with you, your mother is willing to invest with you. So you want to now create wealth for the family. So if you're starting with your own money, you're going to have very small amount of money. So maybe you will start being a speculator because you want to put 5,000. When it becomes 5,200, you want to sell. The temptation will always be there. It's very difficult to sit in one place for a young 22-year-old investor. It's easy for an older investor to say, I benefited by doing that, but he may not be able to do that. So if you are creating wealth for the family, you have to understand that the word speculation, day trading, delivery based trading and creating wealth in a portfolio are completely different things and have completely different meanings. When you get confused in your portfolio between these four, you create a mess. So you have to be very clear that 10 rupees here, 10 rupees here, 50 rupees here is how I'm going to start. So I'm going to create wealth for my family, create a portfolio. Here are good shares that I have identified, which I am going to buy, say 100 rupees worth every month for the next 10 years, right? That you don't have to look at IRR and what the index is doing, etc. You have belief in the management, you like the management, it could be anything. Company may not be making money now. So any of the parameters, if you see ROE or you see any of those things, it may not mean much, but it may be a company which has got 60% market share. Then the ROE, RONW will come at a later date. If you have got decent operating margins and if they have market share, the other return parameters will follow. You cannot wait for the scorecard to tell you what is happening because you're playing the match, you're creating the scorecard. So it's very important for that. In speculation, you will deal very differently. You buy in the morning, you can sell in the evening. You're not a mutual fund. You're not a PMS that you have to take delivery. So different strategies require different actions. Understand the difference first, then start playing the game.
What I have noticed amongst investors is that they buy under one strategy, and when that strategy fails, they move it to the other strategy. For example, you buy something for intraday, doesn't work. Instead of closing it at the end of the day, you take it under delivery based trading. You don't succeed even in delivery based trading in that same idea. Then you say, no, that is long term. So from strategy 1 to strategy 3 to strategy 4, people keep jumping. Similarly, somebody buys something for investment today. Next day it goes up upper circuit. He converts that long-term investing decision into delivery-based trading and sells it the next day and sees the 20%. What I have seen is that people, by merely shifting between these buckets for their own convenience and emotional needs, tend to misallocate money meant for speculation into investment and investment into speculation, by virtue of which they reduce the scope to make money and increase the scope to make losses. Both happen interchangeably. As a result of which, when they repeat this cycle, when their ins repeat these mistakes, they are forced to leave the market after a few years. People don't treat these silos separately. Do you feel that fewer the silos, it is better for a young investor? Rather than do all these things, just do one thing. Either be somebody who buys for delivery and then trades when it goes up, or just be somebody who does long-term investing and doesn't worry about booking profits urgently, or just be a day trader, or be somebody who is a different type of a speculator, which was a second bucket. Do you think somebody should restrict himself to one bucket in the initial stage of his investment so that he doesn't mix up these things, so that he doesn't confuse?
I would rather invest in a 200-page notebook and keep a journal of what I am doing, and create a group, maybe on WhatsApp, maybe in physical, and sit and talk about each of these things, because you have to learn all these things. You cannot say, you cannot say, I've been a very good speculator for 20 years, now I will build my portfolio. You have to do all of this. See, it's not like you're preparing for a marathon, because when you're preparing for a marathon, you need not know how to run a 100-meter dash. These are different things. But when you are an individual, you can do your 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, 10 kilometer and the marathon. You're preparing for everything. I think you should prepare for everything if you're serious about it. If you're not serious, you can just maybe index or put into some 2-3 mutual funds and then not worry about it. But if you want to learn equity investing, I think you have to do everything. You have to create groups. That groups have to sit and talk, and please write a journal as to what you're doing. 3 months later, 6 months later, 2 years later, you read your journal and see what mistakes you made. That is the tough, difficult way of doing it. Instead of just saying, oh, today somebody told me I should buy Asian Paints or Pidilite and keep buying at any price. These things may not work.
So you're saying that when you try everything, you learn different things, and you will also, by virtue of learning different things, evolve enough not to mix them up.
Yes.
That evolution is what
happens with journaling. You have to learn and evolve, rather than think that because you're good at one, the other one will follow. It won't follow. Because you're a speculator, you won't become a good investor.
That's not happening.
That won't happen.
So effectively, you must know where to stop in each area, how much to do in each area. You should not overdo in one area, which eventually should not weaken you in another area.
Correct. I mean, look at Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli. They're so good in T20. They're so good in one day, 50 overs, and in Test matches. Look at Virat Kohli. All three, he's able to move very smoothly. I mean, Sachin Tendulkar would have also done it. That is how you should be. You cannot say, I'm only a T20 player or only a one-day player. It doesn't work that way for the best. Some people may, Surya Kumar Yadav may be good only in T20, and he may not even be able to adapt to your one day. That's a different thing. But typically a great player should be able to move through all very smoothly, and then later on decide that speculation is not for me. I don't want to do delivery based trading. I just want to create wealth in a long term portfolio. Make that choice after you have tried everything. Don't say I won't try the others.
The next point I wanted to ask you about is how do you pace your journey on this wealth path? How do you go at a decent pace? Because measurement is something which you don't do much in your early years. You just enjoy what you're doing. So you're living for the day, literally. But that's not enough, right? If you want to create a wealth path, you can't live for the day. Your purpose is shorter, narrower purposes don't lead you to a longer path. What are your thoughts on this?
See, it's a question of how much time and effort you want to give for this. Because today I see youngsters in every field, whether they are in digital marketing or they are in software, they work their butts off. So if they are going to work 12 hours a day, will they find enough time for this? If they won't find enough time, it's very difficult because you don't get an equity advisor who is here to create wealth for you. You have to do a lot of this work yourself. So if you can't find time or you won't find time, then don't do it. If you want to do it, it has to be somewhat connected to your work. So if you're a fund manager, you can't do it. If you're in a sales job, you can't do it. So some of these things you have to see what line of work you're doing where you're able to do it, because this requires time, it requires reading, it requires journaling, it requires sitting, thinking. Buying is 15 seconds, 20 seconds, that is not the problem. The whole process of preparing for it, that is the skill. So if you don't want to do the process, don't do the process. If you do the process, you will know how you should measure yourself. Then slowly you'll be happy with what you're doing, or if you're unhappy, stop doing it. Or then you start watching videos, you will know which are the right videos to watch. Because if you are a speculator, you may want to use technicals. If you are a portfolio builder, you may want to use fundamentals. Then you need to read books on how to do it and all that, and then build those skills.
What about those who have both these approaches? There are a lot of people who say, I see technical and fundamental. What do you think about those?
Actually, that's very difficult because you don't really have to worry too much about technicals if you're a long-term portfolio creator. You don't have to worry because if I take a 10-year view on a company.
Take it as validation. No, I mean,
Yeah, I may say.
you feel that I like these fundamentally and the market also seems to agree with me.
Yeah. So largely you're asking, should I buy this at 103 or should I buy it at 96, 97? That's about all.
No. That's not the point I'm saying. Let's say you like a company. You've been studying it and you like all the fundamentals. Normally what do people like us do? We buy. Let the stock price be 800, let it come to 700, we will buy. Because we feel it's more attractive at 700. Now what these guys do, who believe in both technical and fundamental, is they watch it at 800, they watch it at 700, and when they feel that it is again going to go higher and the market is fully convinced of it, and the chart tells them what the market is thinking, then they layer their fundamental conviction with this conviction, and only then they call themselves to investment action. This is the clear distinction between people like us who just see fundamentals and buy and people who do this. Now, do they make money? I think they do. They do make a lot of money. No two opinions about it. But do they make more money than us when we buy more quantity at a lower rate? Answer is no. But what these investors who are younger are thinking is that they want certainty. Like sometimes we can go wrong on something which happens to us. They feel that this approach will ensure that they will not go wrong. Nobody has seen up close whether they have managed it, but that is the belief that, we have a fail-safe way to invest. That's more like it. Do you think there can be a fail-safe path to creating wealth at all? That is what they think, but I am asking your opinion.